Now, certainly, let's move to an item, among others, that is certainly connected to that Nova Memorial collage there. Hadassah, the Women's Zionist Organization of America, is one of the biggest Jewish groups in the world, with some 300,000 members in the U.S. alone. My own mother was, of course, a Hadassah lady. Hadassah, throughout its history, has mobilized on behalf of Israel and the Zionist movement, certainly done so since October 7th. One of those initiatives is End the Silence, a global campaign which was just launched to unite people all over the world in speaking out against the weaponization of sexual violence by Hamas. Here to discuss that and other Hadassah initiatives is Carol Ann Schwartz, the national president of Hadassah. First of all, Karen, welcome to Israel and welcome to our studio.
Thank you so much.
And as I said before, Hadassah, the name speaks for itself, certainly in the Jewish world. Let's start, though, by talking most recently the End the Silence campaign.
The End the Silence campaign, as you mentioned, we just kicked it off this past week around the globe. So most people think of Hadassah, they think of Hadassah in the United States. Hadassah is global.
Right, including here in Israel.
Right, chapters. Including here in Israel and Hong Kong and Asia and South America. And what we've done is we are demanding justice. We are the voice for the women, for the girls who were raped, who were butchered, who were mutilated, who have no voice anymore. What Hamas terrorists did is unacceptable. For humankind, it is unacceptable. Everyone should be screaming about this. Everyone should be the voice of these women and girls. And we were meeting with hostage families, and they said now the concern is that the 19 women and girls who were there were worried. No one has checked on them. No one has given us proof of life. They might be pregnant. No one has done anything. These girls, every additional day that they are in the Hamas tunnels held by these terrorists as hostages, is another day they get raped. We are their voice. We sent the petition out around the globe. We sent it out across the United States, around the globe, saying sign the petition. Demand from the United Nations that they act. They have an independent group that does the investigation, and they stand up and they speak out with us that sexual violence against women during a war will not be tolerated, and it is against the law. And anyone who knows history knows that. And the fact that they are doing this, the fact that the United Nations took them a long time to say anything.
Not just the United Nations. Hadassah's one of the oldest, I would say, just women's organizations, not just Jewish women.
Yes.
And of course, it has been brought to attention that many women's organizations on one might call the progressive scale have been reluctant or hesitant to speak out on this issue.
Exactly. And what we said, we started from the beginning. We started from day one. We were walking through the halls of Congress. We went to the United Nations. I know when they're listening in the halls of Congress, when they quote me. That's when I know they're listening. And they have been quoting me, saying this is what Hadassah is doing. This is what they're speaking out about. We need to support them. And we're telling them you need to support Israel as well. It's unacceptable. So we sent this petition out 1 week ago. As you know, we already have almost 100,000 signatures from people from 105 countries. People are speaking out. They want their voices heard. And then on March the 8th, around the globe, on the same day as the International Women's Day, we will be having events around the globe. So far, we have 22 countries that will be participating in these events to end the silence, to get people to speak out and to say we will not participate, we will not put up with this.
Right. Now, this is among other initiatives that Hadassah has taken in the public sphere or public diplomacy sphere since October 7th.
Yes, absolutely. I was here last month with a global solidarity mission from Hadassah. We had 55 people representing 8 different countries here. The first thing that was so important to me was I went to the International Red Cross offices. We had written to them in December. And as you said, the largest, the oldest, we've been around. We're not representing just one person, we're representing hundreds of thousands. They ignored us in December. We wrote to them. You don't ignore us. So in January, we went to them in person. We delivered the petition. This is a copy of it I have here. And we showed them all the signatures we have from people across the United States, thousands and thousands of signatures, demanding that the ICRC check on the hostages, that they make sure there is life, that the women are okay, that they're getting the medication they need.
Right.
It was not a pleasant conversation.
I could imagine, and a challenge for it. By the way, speaking of the Red Cross and health issues, probably in Israel, though there is Hadassah chapters here, for Israelis,
yes.
The name Hadassah evokes the the medical centers in Jerusalem, both on in En Kerem, the main one, and the one on Mount Scopus. And the one on Mount Scopus has a new rehabilitation center, which Hadassah is also. I guess the timing was fortuitous, correct? It pushed forward the opening of that rehabilitation center in order to accommodate some of the victims of the October 7th tragedy, which we just talked about.
Absolutely. The rehabilitation center is 30,000 square meters. This is not a small facility. Inpatient.
Right. This is on
outpatient,
Mount Scopus.
On Mount Scopus.
Right.
And we accelerated the opening by 9 months. And this is phase 1 that's open. And yes, we have inpatient open. We have 50 beds in there that are occupied already. Outpatient is open. It's modular. We're making sure that we're taking care of the needs of the soldiers, of the civilians that were injured, that were there. And we will finish phase 2 and we will finish phase 3 ahead of time so that the building is completely open and available to the Israeli citizens, because that is what's so key for us, that we are here. We built the medical infrastructure for the country, and we're continuing today. And we're looking forward to say what needs to be done, what happens next, and we're being there.
Right. Now, Hadassah is a Zionist organization, and it's led by a personal example in many cases. I just want to ask you, I understand you have a son who lives here, who did serve in the IDF. You've been traveling around, and I want to ask you about that because your situation is that of many mothers and fathers living in the U.S., living outside with children who are now living in Israel and serving in the IDF and serving in the country and helping out in many other ways during this quite difficult time. And maybe talk about that on both a personal level and on the bigger level of Hadassah supporting those people.
On the personal level, I mean, our son made Aliyah 13 years ago. He served in the IDF in Hadassah Kravit. I learned very quickly what every mother feels who lives here, who raises an Israeli child, whose child says, yes, I want to go in Hadassah Kravit, which is, he was in explosives.
Combat engineering.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Combat engineering, yes.
Yes. And I was nervous every single day. He went into Gaza. He was in Operation Protective Edge. I was torn up inside. I don't know how Israeli mothers sleep because I wasn't sleeping that entire time. I didn't know where exactly he was. I didn't know when he would be back. I just knew my cell phone is off and I can't talk to you right now, and I'll let you know when I can talk again. I torn up, feeling that pain and that anguish and that wonder. Will he be back? Will he be okay? Will the rest of the children be okay? Because these are all our children. Someone says, you know, how much family do you have in Israel? I say, I have 9 million family members that live in Israel. I worry about all of them. I especially worry about my son. I worry about the other sons. We had
and daughters.
And daughters, absolutely. And daughters now, and they are even more active than ever before.
Absolutely.
And they are heroes. And we have especially seen it through this war, how young women have stepped up and taken lead and made huge sacrificing and life-saving decisions immediately, not questioning, not thinking, but moving forward. And what we do as Hadassah is we're always reaching out. You know, how are the families? And it's usually someone calls us and says, oh, my son is there, my daughter is there. Can you take something to them? Absolutely. We know these kids, and a lot of them have come up through the youth group movements that we work with, and we want to make sure that they're okay, that they're taken care of, that they know here's a mom who's going to come and she's going to give them a hug. I'll invite them to Shabbos dinner, which my husband and I have done numerous times, just to let them know they're loved. And we want them to feel that love from home, 6,000, 10,000 miles away, even though mom and dad might be back there, but this mom is right here to give them that hug.
I think you could kind of use that as a metaphor for Hadassah as an organization and Israel as its, in some ways, as its child. And Hadassah's done that for, of course, many decades. Doing it in, we should just say, in quite a challenging environment now in the United States. I would imagine.
And we have seen more women join our ranks and want to be part of our Zionist movement. They see the passion, they see the support that we give to Israel, but they also see the support that we give to each other.
And
that we talk to each other, that we share our information, we share our anguish.
Well,
all of that is
certainly
key.
A crucial time for that kind of support. Carol Ann Schwartz, the national president of Hadassah, thank you so much for joining us in our studio.
Thank you. And we encourage everyone to be part of our End the Silence campaign. And please sign the petition. We want to deliver millions if we could. I would love to see millions on that petition going to the UN.
Carol Ann Schwartz, thank you so much for joining us.